The following podcast contains spoilers and words like and gosh. Mate, did we watch a thing this week?
Yeah, we did. All right, we're back. We're back in this in our latest film series venture. At the moment, we're tackling the Predator franchise. Some might say the franchise that shouldn't be.
Absolutely. I'm hoping this third one's better.
Anything has got to be better than Predator 2.
This one doesn't have humans in it, does it?
Just predators.
Oh, that's good.
Hence the name.
Just roaming around like deer. Just an hour and a half of predators grazing in a field.
Yeah, like early Jurassic Park.
That would still be so much better than Predator 2.
Sam Neill going, they do move in herds.
All right, shall we kick into it then?
Yeah, so the next film we have to watch is Predators.
All right, let's go hit play. Okay. All right, that was a movie.
Exciting when any movie begins with an Oscar winner just falling from the sky.
Yep.
For no reason.
I mean, the cast isn't bad. I'm a big Topher Grace fan. He is the show's second favourite Topher.
Right up there. Yeah. Right up there. Do you think this was meant to be, for Adrien Brody, was this meant to be like Bruce Willis in Die Hard? Was this meant to be like an action breakout role?
I'm sure it was. And this was after The Pianist, right?
Yeah. This was Oscar winner Adrien Brody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that this was him trying to cross streams.
Because that didn't happen.
Well, no, because he had been... I mean, Adrien Brody, it's funny. He's one of those names you know, but how many movies he's been in can you actually name? He wasn't really all that well known. I'm sure this was him trying to become a known person.
Quite a... kind of, I suppose in some way, throwing back to Predator, we do have a motley crew of humans.
Yes.
In this film. Disappointing that there's humans.
Yeah, but this is definitely returning more to the roots of the first one. This one, I can see how this one actually happened.
Yeah.
Predator 2, I have no idea how that film came to be. This one makes sense to me.
I'd totally forgotten that Danny Trejo was in this film.
Yeah, he's great, man. Trejo should be in everything.
Yeah.
All right, so Predators is a 2010 American science action fiction film. Yeah, so big gap there. Directed by Nimród Antal and starring Adrien Brody, Topher Grace, Alice Braga, Walton Goggins, and Laurence Fishburne. Doesn't even have Trejo's name there. That's a shame.
Or Ali.
And it was written by Alex Litvak and Michael Finch.
Finchy.
You know who I'm not a fan of? And I feel like you might tell me off for this because I think you dig this guy. Goggins.
Oh, yeah, I dig Goggins.
Yeah, I'm not a big Goggins fan, man.
Bit of wild-eyed Goggins.
Yeah, well, see, I've only seen him in Now This and Tomb Raider.
Okay.
And I've, based on my very small sample of two terrible films, not a big Goggins fan.
Well, someone that we and everyone's a big fan of is Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, love Ali.
I didn't even recognize him for the first 5 minutes of this film because he's so jacked in it.
He really is, isn't he?
He's huge.
Yeah. He's like
it's like
what's
picked up the Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, you knew who I was trying to say. He surprised me as much as Carl Weathers did in the first one. Yeah.
Then he meets his character in Green Book. He's like, what's the matter?
Yeah, he is ripped in this. Yeah, so we've gone from 1990 to 2010, so a literal 20-year gap between films in this franchise.
Yeah. 2 Oscar winners in the cast.
It's crazy.
Go figure.
So this was even after AVP. I guess technically AVP would have been the next sequel.
Well spotted. way to read a calendar.
So I might shock you here. I don't know. I don't know how you felt about it. I actually didn't mind this film.
I don't mind this film.
I in some ways,
like, it's not good.
Well, I don't know. In some ways, I think this is better than the first one.
All right, now you've lost me.
Look, I apologize to everyone who's a fan of the first Predator film, but this is pretty fun. I think I like the multiple Predator. I think the action sequences are pretty well good. Cast is good. I quite dug this film. I liked the premise too. It's like you said, not many films open with an Oscar winner falling nude from the sky.
Good thing this planet has breathable air.
Well, surely that's by design,
what
right?
What are the odds of that?
Well, I'm sure it checks out.
But they're bringing in aliens from all across the galaxy, we assume. There's there's all these pens that have been housing their prey that they're hunting, and they all breathe the same air.
Well, but the Predator could breathe on Earth, though.
Yeah. But what about
clearly he breathes, clearly whatever planet the Predator is from, I'm not sure if this is that planet or not, but clearly that planet has the same atmosphere as Earth, or at least he's able to breathe on it.
But what about the other creatures that have been in cages, which they find in this film? They're like, well, what was in that?
Maybe they were from the same planet, though. What makes you think the Predator is the only alien on his planet? We've got lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Like, maybe that's the Predator's version of a dog.
So out of the entire galaxy, we're the only planet that they choose to hunt.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Man is the what's the saying? Man is the something game.
The most dangerous game of all.
The most deadly game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out it's man.
Yeah, maybe they just really like to hunt men and women.
Nice callback with the minigun.
Yeah.
In this film.
Yeah.
Getting back to a bit of 80s big dick energy, just cut loose with a minigun.
Well, this film to me, I think, blended the best parts of Predator better than Predator did. I think this does a good job of combining those kind of Home Alone elements with the all-out action brawl elements. I think this actually was a really good balance, I think.
Do you know what? The balance of something that I struggle to believe in?
Yeah.
The space boars.
Yeah, which are pretty damn cool, though, those armoured boars.
Awfully hard to kill.
Yes.
With big guns.
Yes.
Pretty easy to kill with a knife.
Yes. Well, yes.
But is that... So that checks out?
I feel like there are animals like that, though.
That checks out for you?
There are definitely animals like that. Like you try,
what are these animals?
Well, you try killing a cheetah with a gun, mate. They're too fast. But if you can catch one, you can knife it. I'm sure of it.
So you're going... It's you versus a cheetah.
Yep. I'd rather
picking a knife.
I'd take a knife in with me, yeah.
All right, well, I mean, you're stuffed either way, but...
I'd take a knife into the Thunderdome if it was me v cheetah.
I've been in a cheetah enclosure.
Thunderdome style.
So, and I'm not talking... So our local zoo has cheetahs you can pat.
Yeah, they do. My wife fed one.
Yeah, they've been raised by hand. And yes, I've been in that one to film them. But at another zoo, I've been in to film cheetahs where they were like, oh yeah, these aren't, these are just cheetahs.
These cheetahs believe that man is the deadliest game.
Yeah. And I had the microphone on the camera had the windsock on it.
Oh, so it looks like a rabbit.
It looked like something they wanted to eat.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
And so there's me in this cheetah enclosure with a zookeeper who is armed with a plastic rake. Before we went in, there was a gun, there was a knife, or a plastic rake.
Yep.
And he chose plastic rake.
There you go, because guns would be useless against cheetahs. I told you.
Terrifying. I've never been so scared in my life. And I kept looking out at the producer who had a look on her face of, I've just killed my cameraman. He's definitely going to die in there. I've had an experience of what it's like to be in an area where you are...
Yeah, the deadliest game.
These people to the Predator.
Yep.
Don't rate it.
But rate it. I totally buy that you could kill the boars with a knife and not a gun.
Okay, that's just dumb. I liked it in this film. We're back to the jungle.
Yes,
good,
same.
Good for you, movie.
Yep, made a smart choice. And that it's not even Earth's jungle. So, but it's cool because for a long time, I thought this was Earth. Did you?
Oh, I don't think it took long for me to think that it wasn't.
Okay. But I liked how Earth-esque it was. And I liked the kind of... I love this kind of story where a bunch of people just wake up, they don't know why they're together, they don't know where they are, and they have to kind of work together to figure it out. Like, that's one of my favorite kind of... story arcs.
Were you a fan of Cube in the 90s?
I was a fan of Cube.
When was the last time you watched it?
It's been a while.
Don't-
I hear that that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's not a film you want to revisit. Your recollection of Cube is better than the reality.
But yeah, so I was on board with the setting. I liked that.
Yeah, and we even get back to falling into water.
Yep.
It's like really, there's like some. It's almost apologizing for Predator 2. This film, I think.
Yeah, we even crack out mud.
Yeah. When we finally get to, as the title would suggest, Predators.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Where he finds like the city of predators.
Yeah. There's this like it's a really cheesy shot of predators standing around looking badass.
Yeah.
But it's also just pretty cool.
And you got that one predator who's like tied up, and you're like, oh man, if even the predators are tying a predator up, this guy must be like the Hannibal Lecter of predators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like what a mystery that is, Billy. Why is there a predator?
I know, right? You know, I love it. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not beating around the bush. I loved this movie, man.
You loved it.
This is so much better than Predator.
Okay. Happily, Laurence Fishburne will turn up to tell us what's going on with the alpha predators.
He gets his Morgan Freeman on and just explains everything.
Yeah, Fishburne's doing a lot in this film. Not much of it good. I was dial it back, Fishburne.
Yeah, it's like he thought that Walton Goggins was the best performer in the film, and so he tried to match that level.
Yeah, or he was still on the drugs being peddled in Predator 2 or something. He's doing a lot.
Yeah, I think a lot of look, I don't think the cast is great in this film. Like even like Brody, as we know, is an Oscar winner. He's pretty bad in this movie. I think Mahershala is strong.
Ali's good.
Big Topher Grace fan. I think he's working with it. That for me is about where the cast ends in terms of good performances.
Yeah, and of course, there comes a point in the film where the Japanese guy will sword fight a predator because of course he will.
Yeah, so he gets out a samurai sword. It's a great scene. It's maybe a little bit racist.
Yeah, yay cultures.
Great action scene though.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
I mean, if you can work in a sword fight with the predator, you're gonna do it.
Yeah. Again, I was like, just do your job, Predator.
Yeah.
Just kill this guy.
Yeah, that's true. You don't need to fence.
Getting back to our old friend, the strung up in chains Predator.
Yeah.
Did you get any Labyrinth vibes off that guy? At one point, I thought maybe it was Ludo. As kind of a
Ludo friend. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Well, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny. You don't often hear the predator talk, do you?
Yeah.
Maybe he just sounds really silly. It'd be funny if the predator just started talking and it was like
David Beckham,
Ray Romano.
Do you know what the problem is? So strung up predator is, if I'm not mistaken, more or less the kind of predator we're familiar with. And then there's the alpha predators, the bulls.
Yeah.
Problem with the bull is that there is nothing threatening about an underbite.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. Underbites are a bad look. Yeah.
What are those little dogs with the
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. They're not
kind of Shih Tzu type things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
it's not threatening.
Underbite's not a good way to go.
Well, that's the thing. As I said, I already think that Predator without his helmet isn't great design. And yeah, I think it's like they do the same thing with the Alien movies. It's like every movie they decide they need a new iteration, but it's like everything you're doing is worse than the original design. So why not just stick with that and it would be better? You don't need to keep coming up with these new creatures and new elements, and it just doesn't work.
And like the Predator in this film, classic Predator move, you've got your prey on the ground. Your next move would be to kill them, but you don't because reasons.
Well, you're not going to kill Topher Grace.
Do your job, Predator. Yeah. Do your job. Just kill people.
Let's talk about the look of the film, I guess. Very dark, very CG, not great CG.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the budget was.
Let's see if you can
But it
guess.
probably wasn't like, we're not talking Avatar budget, I'm assuming.
Let's see if you can guess the budget, plus or less $5 million. You've got a $10 million range to figure out. Let's see if you can guess the range. I'll give you $5 million either side. Let's see if you can guess the budget.
85.
Nah, man. You want me to say higher or lower?
No, I just want you to tell me.
You don't want to play the game?
No.
Far lower than you're thinking.
Oh.
This is only a $40 million film.
Oh, wow.
So, look, in that respect, I think it doesn't do a bad job, really. I think the visuals are a little ropey. I think most of that falls to the rendering and texturing side. I think the animation itself is smooth and well done.
The visuals of Mahershala Ali's arms.
Oh, that gets me going. That works.
that holds up.
The visuals of Topher Grace's face. I'm there.
Who's a smarmier dick? Topher Grace in this or Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3?
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen Spider-Man 3, obviously, because it's not very good. I mean, he's pretty smarmy in that, isn't he?
Oh, I think once he's venomized.
He goes full emo.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not him that goes full emo.
Oh, it's Peter Parker that goes. He's the one who dances, isn't it?
Oh, God.
All right. Are we done talking about Predators?
That's how Peter Parker would have squared off against the Predator. Japanese guy, of course, sword fights. Yeah. Peter Parker, dance off.
You get served.
Look, this film is at points quite bad, at points actually really, I think actually surprisingly enjoyable.
Yeah.
I find this movie more watchable than I do think it's good. So
yes,
I think it is actually ultimately kind of a bit subpar, but still actually, for me it's a very fun 4 out of 10.
Wow, I'm gonna shock the shit out of you
because I don't actually think it's not good.
Look, I agree with you. This is a bad movie, but all these movies are bad. And I had fun with this one. I'm a 6. I'm giving this the same as I gave Predator. This to me, it's in the exact same realm of cheesy action, more fun than it is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we need to crack on with The Predator.
The Predator.
From 2 years ago, which you've spoken about briefly on the show. Before we get into that, though, shall we hear another one of our drinking rules?
Let's do that.
All right. Let's get to our good friend Julio from the Contrarians. We love the guy. He's given us rules for every marathon we've done, and we've been on their show talking about, as you said, the amazing Street Fighter. Let's hear what he's giving us.
My dear Billy and Topher, I'd watched the 2 AVP movies for you. It was rough. I should have drank. But you'll be drinking, so hopefully that makes this a little better, at least for you. Here's my contribution to the drinking game. Drink every time you look at the screen and you can't tell what the fuck is going on. Happy drinking.
Judged on how dark this film was and my memory of AVP, isn't it set inside a pyramid?
Some of it is, and definitely, and then AVP Requiem, there's a lot of night exteriors from memory. So
I feel like I'm going to lose track of what's going on a lot.
We're getting hammered.
All right. Shall we press play on The Predator?
The Predator.
Let's do it. All right. That was The Predator.
The Predator.
Yep.
Written and directed by Shane Black.
Yes, who of course was in the first film.
Yep.
I usually quite like Shane Black. Usually.
Same. I'm a Shane Black fan. And you already knew this about me. I dig this movie.
I remember you watched this movie. Oh, I think you watched it because this came out in the September that we did our Fast and Furious marathon. So I wasn't watching movies because I had just had a baby.
Not you.
Well, but yeah, you went to see this and I remember you catching me up on it. And yeah, you said that you liked this movie.
This movie, there's a lot about it that's not good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot about it that just works for me.
Even the child actor?
No.
That's a large chunk of the film. That's a lot of this movie.
His dad sure does. I'm here for Boyd Holbrook.
Yeah?
I'm on the Boyd Holbrook train.
Yeah, yep. I like Olivia Munn. All right. The Predator is a 2018 American science fiction action film directed by Shane Black and written by Black and Fred Dekker. It's the fourth installment in the Predator franchise. Black has a supporting role in the original film, while John Davis returns as producer. Nobody cares about that. Stars, as you said, Boyd Holbrook, Trevante Rhodes, Jacob Tremblay, Keegan-Michael Key, Olivia Munn, Thomas Jane, Alfie Allen, and Sterling K. Brown. Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. One thing I really like about this film is the cast.
Yeah. Not many projects know fully what to do with Olivia Munn.
Yes.
This film, I think, does. This film gets Olivia Munn, and I think she is great in it.
Olivia Munn's best role, of course, is in The Newsroom.
I agree.
But, yeah, she's pretty spectacular in this. It's also, I think Keegan-Michael Key is an interesting choice. You don't think of him in an action film.
You sure don't?
And I think what he brings to the table is pretty good.
Trevante Rhodes being cool.
Yeah.
Just quite cool.
As is Sterling K. Brown. He's just a cool dude.
Love Brown in this film.
I really do. Have you seen him in much else? Because he is most famous for This Is Us, the TV series, which you probably haven't seen because it's a cry fest. I watch it because of Mandy Moore. But Sterling K. Brown he's pretty great in that show, and he's pretty great in everything he does. He's just a cool dude.
I love his energy in this film.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a real shame that his death is so underplayed. Did you even know that he died? The editing is way too fast. There's like one random shot of him, maybe, I forget exactly what happens, maybe his gun backfires, and then he's just not in the rest of the movie.
Shame.
Yeah, and that to me is where this movie really falls down, is the poor editing and pacing of this thing, and there's a lot of storylines going on here.
Yeah, there are.
It's too much for a movie.
I agree with that. It does, for me, it does need to be streamlined.
Yeah, big time.
So, okay, one thing I like about this movie is, and this doesn't always work, but I think it does work for this film, is that it is self-aware. It knows the franchise it's in, and it does kind of play around with it a little bit, even up to like when they're talking about, when Olivia Munn says, well, that's not a predator. And they're like, yeah, but it sounds good.
Yeah, look, it knows, and this is by far the most self-aware Predator movie, because this finally takes what I have seen in Predator, in that it is a fun but not great action series, which is what I feel like all the other movies have been, except that they have all thought they were really good action movies. Like Predators takes itself very seriously for what it is. This movie has fun, and I think a lot of that is Shane Black. He, as we know, he's a funny writer.
Yep. He casts a Busey.
Yeah, yes. So yeah, I think I agree. I like the energy that this film has.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that nobody else could direct Shane Black material this way, but when he is the director of the material, he of course knows the pacing and energy and tone that these scenes should be played out in.
Yeah.
And like scenes like where Olivia Munn's character wakes up on the bed, that's a scene where whoever's directing the film needs to get the material. Yeah. And so it of course works that Shane Black is directing it, and because I think that scene's hilarious.
Yeah.
But if you just read it on the page, I don't think it's necessarily funny.
Yeah. Here's a question, though. As I said, I think this movie has way, way, way too many storylines. If I said to you, what is this movie about? How do you give me? I want you to give me a 1-paragraph pitch of this film. I don't understand how you could even do that.
This movie is about an alien that comes to Earth to help people against other bad aliens, but we don't know that because we're scared of it.
Okay. You just described Terminator. Like, that's T2.
and that part of this film, I really like.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of superfluous stuff that I don't care about at all. For instance, kids in films.
Yeah. There's a lot of the kid. I don't mind the stuff with him toying with the helmet. I think that's kind of maybe leading somewhere, but then doesn't really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of loose ends in the film.
Him actually killing someone with the Predator gear.
Yeah.
Weirdly hilarious.
Yeah.
But there's things like, I mean, the whole Predator dogs thing. Like, one, they're stupid.
Oh.
And two, they just take up time
That was some of my favourite portion of the film.
The Predator dogs.
Yeah, I liked the Predator dogs.
Oh, they're deeply shithouse.
I was all about the Predator dogs. If this movie had 20% more Predator dog and 30% less kid, I would have been upping it by a star.
Why did the Predator dog decide to switch teams? What was that about?
It's a dog, mate. Their brains are tiny.
Yeah, but
my dog.
It's trained.
Trained. My dog loves me, and Hero is really well trained. If you were to walk out to your car right now and open the door, he'd hop in your car, mate. He would change teams so easily just because he's like, oh, car ride. And then he'd spew in it because that's what he does.
This is ridiculous. There's a Predator dog that they shoot multiple times. And that's fine that doesn't kill it. It's a big, tough alien.
Yeah, you got to use a knife or a plastic rake.
That's
we
fine.
know that.
Plastic rake, it wouldn't stand up to that kind of punishment. They shoot it a bunch of times, and then next time it sees them, it's like, okay, I'll be on your side.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
I think No.
It is deeply terrible.
That's crazy.
And the Predator dogs should be cut from this film.
This film did feel long to me, and I want to say that it feels longer than it actually is, because the runtime, it's got to be less than 2 hours, right?
I'll tell you. Oh yeah, well under 2 hours.
Yeah, it feels like an over 2 hour film to me. And you would think that with so much storyline, it would feel faster, but it doesn't. This movie felt like it dragged a lot to me.
Yeah, because the Predator dogs.
Well, no.
And Tremblay taking up the Laurence Fishburne role of just doing too much.
Tremblay's the kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, I'm not a Tremblay fan. He's become a bit of a name. Was this like his breakout?
This is post-Room.
Right, okay. Because then he's also recently been in Good Boys. I'm just not a fan. I'm not about Jacob Tremblay, and it's not just because he's a child actor.
That's why I'm against him.
He's just a bad child actor.
Oh, I think he's a very good child actor, which makes him still someone who shouldn't be in a film.
Too much kid in this film, though.
Definitely.
We needed more dogs, more Olivia Munn, and it would have been great.
That's correct. Other than the dogs. I like the. So in the last film, I wasn't that into the alpha predators. I am into the alpha predator in this one that just turns up and just starts brutalizing stuff. It's actually pretty great. It turns up and it just goes berserker.
Yeah.
Like just brutalizes another predator. And I'm like, yes, this thing is here and it's not going to mess around. But then, so it's this predator that turns up then, like halfway through the film. It's actually like ultimately the bad. He's the end boss of the film.
Yeah.
And I do quite like him, but also I think the film gets worse as soon as he turns up.
Yeah.
I like the first half of this film significantly more than the second half.
Did you know that Schwarzenegger was to be in this film?
I knew there were rumors around it.
Yeah, so Dutch did have a cameo in the film, and Schwarzenegger even spoke to Black about it, turned it down because he didn't think it was big enough. It was too short of a role.
Right. It's funny because at the very end of this film, in like the epilogue, which I think is bad, when they open up a package labeled Predator Killer or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember in the cinema going, oh my God, it's going to be Dutch.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been cool.
And then it was a suit that goes onto random lab technician.
Yeah.
And it's quite silly.
Yeah. And this is the thing. And I really feel like the first film is a Schwarzenegger film, and I cannot believe that he hasn't been in any of the sequels to this. It doesn't make sense to me. It would be like, can you imagine if Ripley wasn't in any of the other Alien movies? Like, that would just be dumb. Like, that would really just be dumb. Like, even with her, some of them aren't great, but at least it's a continuation.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels strange.
Yeah, so speaking of liking this film less as it goes along, like, I love all the stuff in the lab.
Yes,
and
labs are the best scenes.
Not only do I like labs as settings in movies, and I really like dams as settings in movies.
Okay.
I love a dam in a movie.
Yeah, that's fair. Or like a gorge.
Yeah, and here we've got a lab under a dam.
It's fun. You know what? One of my other favorite, top of a bus. I love when people are standing on top of a bus.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movie devices.
I really dig all that stuff. The finale of this film on the Predator's ship.
Yeah.
Quite bad.
Keep us on Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when they're, and there's the whole thing with, I'm stuck this side of the shield of the ship, which is like a physical thing. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
In my head, a real shield around a ship would just disintegrate you. Like if you tried to put your arm through it, it would just like melt off.
Yeah, not like something you can knock on.
That's the way I see shields. If it's a physical thing, what's the point in it? That's no different to just the hull of a ship.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. To me, it needs to be a force field. Like,
yeah, the shield on that ship really bugs me.
It irritates me.
It really irritates me.
From a sci-fi point of view, it really irritates me.
I don't think I should be as bothered by it as I am, but it's really a bee in my bonnet.
I'm glad to hear I wasn't the only one because it was really, really irritating me.
Good job on the predator blood in this film.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about... So this film doubled the budget of Predators.
Right.
We're up to 88 million here.
Oh, that's where I got that from.
Yeah. I do think it looks doubly as good as Predators. I think the look of... And obviously we're 8 years more advanced as well. I do think there's probably a lot more practical effects here. I did find it hard to tell what was practical, what was CG. I think it was blended a lot better. I like the look of this film a lot. And 88, while a decent amount, still isn't... That's not huge for an action film of this caliber. Like, it's still holding back a fair bit.
Particularly for a franchise property. It'd be a lot for an original film, for sure. But significantly less than a lot of, for instance, MCU and Star Wars films.
Yeah. So how are you scoring The Predator then?
6 out of 10. I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
Yep, I'm also a 6. So there you go. So I think 3 of the films in this franchise are perfectly equal. I just think they're all fun, but that's kind of where it ends. Like, I don't think any of these are especially good films.
Yeah, I was like, there's action, there's a bit of gore, there's Boyd Holbrook, there's Olivia Munn. I'm happy.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Yep, good stuff.
Done.
All right, so I guess we're done. We're done with Predator for now. We're going to kick off to some Alien goodness. How do you want to do this? Do we want to go in chronological order or release order? Like, should we chuck on Prometheus first or should we chuck on Alien first?
I think we should do Alien.
Let's go chronologically.
All right,
let's do it. We'll be back with Alien. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle @wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, and we're going to chuck on Alien.
It's the right thing to do.